Hey, I'm Bob Butero with the YogaLife Institute in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. You probably didn't know that my PhD is in yoga therapy and my dissertation was on HIV and AIDS. That's essentially, in a nutshell, on the immune system. Something that's really relevant today as we talk about this coronavirus. Now we have, similar to when I did this dissertation in the 1990s, very little information to go on. I had more information at the time. HIV as a crisis was about a year to 2 years old when I really got into it. And at that time, even that long into it, there were diverging beliefs about it. Some people thought the world was going to be overstricken the way that some of the hysterical beliefs about the coronavirus are going on today. Other people thought it was a hoax, thought we were doing the wrong thing. Some people today thinks we shouldn't isolate each other, that we should just let the virus run its course and people develop immunity naturally. We're playing it safe. I'm playing it safe. I'm with you in that. The whole world is playing it safe. So when we look at how we're treating ourselves, one of the things I want to implore upon you is a holistic model of how we can think about the immune system from a very fundamental approach in yoga. You've heard of the concept mind, body, spirit. So if we look at these 5 areas, we take the 3, we add in our energy, and we add in the intellect. Suddenly you have body, energy, emotion, intellect, and spirit. Now the mind, it kind of blurs the emotion and the intellect. But if you look at these 5 aspects, again, very common for somebody who studied yoga in depth. I want you to see if you're applying these in your life right now so that your immune system at least stays strong at a time when we really need it. So this whole paradigm is based on one thing being inside the other. You'll notice that each aspect of the person influences all the others, so they're equally important. You can just see them in a spiral or kind of like when they talk about the layers of the onion in spiritual growth. You have the body on the outside. The energy controls the movement of the body. The emotions dominates and dictates how our energy levels are. The intellect guides our emotions. And ultimately, the spirit inspires our intellect. Now, an imbalance in any one of these areas causes a disruption in our system. You could be perfectly spiritually enlightened, and if you eat a really poor diet, you will suffer physically from that, and it will get through your whole system, because when you're ill from the bad food, your spirit then suffers. The whole system is interconnected. So right now, we have chances in each of these areas to go in an extreme direction. We can take this hysteria and fear and we can have our spirit be broken. We can feel depressed, anxious, hopeless. Simultaneously, we have the opportunity to understand our spirit better, to understand that our strength can come from within ourselves, from within our faith. And we can, in the height of this difficult situation, we can rely on our inner resources. We can think the way human beings have the ability to think about the past, how resilient we've been, think about how our future is going to be bright. That then influences the intellect. Now, I think the intellect is most vulnerable right now because of our media and our constant ability to hear the news in a variety of sources. You can hear the news on the television all day long now. You can hear it on the internet from all perspectives. And what happens is our intellect gets all this information, but actually we don't really know much right now. This is only a few weeks in. We don't know the actual effects of this coronavirus. We don't know if it's going to change. We don't know very much at all. Now, the newscasters have to speak with authority. And when they do that, they get your intellect to start to kind of be twisted, if you will, to feel a little hysteria, because if they do that, they're going to get you to have an emotional connection to it. They're going to pose stories that they're going to have the answer soon. They're going to have more information soon, so that you tend to watch the thing. Because in the end, the news people are the ones whose advertising rates have just gone through the roof. There's no sports. There's no distractions. There's no public events. What else do we have to do, right? But to keep up on this crisis that's causing us all to be isolated. The intellect is very vulnerable right now. So if you're watching things all day long, your intellect is getting overwhelmed, and that's going to bleed into all sorts of emotional distress. It has been proven that if we have an emotion that is locked in the same frequency, if you will, the same type of emotion for over 4 hours, our immune system starts to drop. So if I'm fearful, if I'm worried, if I'm upset, very normal reactions for right now. I expect you to have those. What I don't want is for you to have those for over 4 hours at a pop. I want you to have those feelings, move through them, and then you are going to have a resilient immunity to situations if you can also have hope and joy, laughter, creativity, compassion, all sorts of other deep-seated feelings that evoke feelings of love and kindness, of optimism, that if you can have those throughout the day, the person who has a variety of these emotions is going to have a strong immune system. So you can't let yourself watch the news all day long, because none of us would be immune to the hysteria and the hype that is going on in the media. Now, watch a little bit, stay informed as much as possible, but then give it a rest and go do something. Watch children, take a walk outside, have fun, do your work. Whatever the different things you do each day, keep doing those, because the emotions then lock our energy up. So again, if our energy is skewed, now our energy can be improved through a lot of the yoga practices like breathing and yoga poses, through exercise, deep breathing. We want our energy to remain vital. So you can see that we have this really magnanimous time here where we're so tempted to get sucked into all of our weaknesses that we can really get to know our weaknesses, but we don't have to stay in them. We can come up with other resilient responses. Lastly, you have your body. So I'd like you to check, how is your diet? Are you drinking enough water? Are you having herb teas? Are you taking in nutritious, healthy food right now? You see, a lot of times when people get worried, there's these two extremes. One person starts to eat to satisfy and feel better, and they tend to overeat. They might tend to choose foods that give strong gratification, sweets and high-fat foods and salty foods. And then somebody else, when they get really upset, may stop eating, eat very little, have no appetite. Either of these extremes greatly affects your nervous system. So try to keep all these in balance at this time. I know it's not easy. We have a lot of unknowns in front of us. Our lives have been disrupted. But simultaneously, we can use this as creating a new perspective, which will actually strengthen our immunity. And most likely, as with every crisis that our species has dealt with, we come out ahead of it and in some way, shape, or form, stronger and wiser. So I hope you can do that for yourself personally. I know as human beings, we are going to learn from this situation and come out on the upside.